Hey everybody, this is Hayes. I got the opportunity to do a timing belt on it's a 2000 Honda Accord. It has the V6 in it, the 3.0. And I'm going to do a video today on how to replace the timing belt on this V6 Honda. It's the 3.0. It's the VTEC. And what I've done so far is I took the wheel off. I took that shield off down there, and I removed the bolt from the harmonic balancer. Let me show you how I do it. They probably don't recommend to do it this way, but I'm going to show you how the techs do it in the shop. It's a lot faster. You get your breaker bar, 19 millimeter 6-point socket. And it's easier than assistant, but you're going to put the breaker bar in this spot down here. Be careful of the oil filter. I didn't have a helper, so I kind of dinged it, so I will be replacing that. But you're going to hold it right there, and you're going to turn the motor over. Boom! And it's going to go boom, and it's going to break that nut loose. It's a lot faster to do it that way. It's always nice if you have a helper so that you can put a little bit of pressure on the bar without hurting themselves. So just be very careful if you do it that way. Don't try to hold the bar. The engine's going to turn the bar for you, and just stay clear as possible. Probably shouldn't even told you that. Someone's probably going to get hurt unnecessarily, but it's real simple to do. If you stick it on there, get as close to that bar as you can, turn the key, boom, 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 and then the nut should break loose. Done. Takes you a whole 5 seconds to do it. Alright, step one. Next I'm going to be removing the motor mount, and I'm going to put a jack underneath on the oil pan with the block of wood. Alright, now once you remove the nut using the pry bar, turn the key, you'll be able to, without a puller, this is a Honda, you'll be able to wiggle this harmonic balancer off the shaft like that. No problem. Make sure you get both the belts off. Like I didn't, because I didn't take the power steering belt off the pulley. But I'll get it now. There you go. And I'll lay it to the side. You want to make sure you don't want to lose this this key up here, okay? Because that's going to be very important. We're just going to leave it in the hole. We're not going to try to pull nothing out right now. Okay, we're going to finish removing these belts. Okay, go ahead and get them off the pulleys and get them off the vehicle. And I'll do that now. Okay, once you remove all the bolts you can get to, all of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you have to remove that bolt that's holding down the oil dipstick, and it's hidden right down up there. So get a long deep well 10 millimeter socket, screw it out, take it out, and you'll be able to wiggle this tube out of there. And I'm going to do that from the up top, and I can wiggle this this tube right out of there. I should be able to. So I'm going to take the dipstick out, and it's kind of tight. It shouldn't be that damn tight, but it's coming out. There it is. All right, and remove the dipstick, and go ahead and set that in your designated area. Come back down to the bottom, and you have one more bolt that dipstick was hiding, and it's right there. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that real quick. Bear with me. I'll get the camera down for a second. That little air leak is here. 10 millimeter. Zip it off. I'm just going to use air because it's faster. but these bolts are not really that tight. They shouldn't be that tight. All right, once I remove that bolt over there, you see I got it out already. Since I'm down here, I'm going to go ahead and start removing this nut right here. I think it's a 14 millimeter. It's been a minute since I did this Honda. I believe it's 14, and I'll get the 1 or 2 that are up on top and remove that as well. And I'll remove the cover and that mount piece all together. And that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now. Okay, once you remove these that bottom bolt, that 14 millimeter bolt on that bracket, and remove these two, one here and one right there, you'll see that these long bolts slide out. I don't know what dropped on the ground. My ratchet, I think, I don't know. These long bolts right here, set them to the side. Set that one to the side. Now you're going to notice on that bottom bolt you won't be able to remove it because the bolt's too long and it's hitting the frame. So all you have to do, so don't get scared, is jack up the motor and get it to the lip till the bolt is over that lip on the frame. Alright, that should be good enough. And I can slide the bolt out as you see. Alright, not brain science, brain surgery or anything. So now this whole assembly is loose. Now I go ahead and remove my bolts, and I see I found another 10 millimeter bolt over here I'll remove. And I can take everything apart. Alright y'all, this is where I'm at. Once I remove the motor mount, it's time to start removing the timing belt cover, which is this piece right here. You're going to start removing these bolts. Alright, that attach the timing cover to the block, or to the head and to the block. So you're going to remove this side. You're also going to remove this side. I got the engine jacked up with the jack on the oil pan, and just when you start feeling a little bit of pressure, you don't want to put a lot of pressure on that jack or the motor. So lift it up and get all the bolts you can out of the timing cover. You're just concentrating on the timing cover. I'm going to go ahead and lower the jack down a little bit so I can get the bolts on the bottom side of the cover, as far all the way down. Alright. Now I go down to the bottom. And I got the lower cover, which we got a bolt here, we got a bolt there, we got a bolt right there. We got a bolt right here just below the mount. We also got one up there that I have to remove. You have two of them up there that I have to remove from the bottom. And I have one behind the oil dipstick. So I'll have to remove the dipstick in order to get to that bolt, obviously. Okay, so let me go ahead and get that done. I'll get back with you. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the top cover. Right, just like that. You set it to the side. Be careful of the little gaskets that go around here. Don't lose them. Don't damage them if you don't have to. All right, once you install the timing belts, you rotate the crankshaft. This is the camshaft. That's in time, as you can see. And this one on this side. Let me move that out of the way. I don't know if you can see it or not. I'll try to get down up in there. There's one mark right there. Let me move this out of the way. Timing mark, timing mark, timing mark, faint, timing mark, perfect. And this is perfect too. Okay, and we also got the crankshaft alignment on the bottom. As soon as I find it, there's the mark. There's the arrow right there on that line. So that's perfect. That's as after rotating the crankshaft 2 revolutions. I also installed a I also installed I'm sorry, I'm thinking about too many things at the same time. I also installed a tensioner pulley, as well as the hydraulic tensioner. And I'm going to go ahead and cut the band and release the pressure. Okay, that's the tensioner up there with that zip tie on it. And I'm going to go ahead and cut the zip tie so I can release the pressure. I'm just going to use a razor blade to do that. Doesn't matter what you use. Okay, I'm going to release it, and it put pressure on this pulley, which put pressure on the belt. Now the belt is tight. Well, as soon as I pull the clip off, and bam, and there it is. Belt's tight. That tensioner pushes up against that pulley, and it pushes up against the belt, and it keeps the belt tight. Hydraulic tensioner. It uses oil pressure to keep that thing extended out and keeping the belt tight. It's very important on the Hondas, on all cars, to keep your oil changed every 3,000–4,000 miles because everything depends. Your oil, the condition of your oil, that depends on the condition of the oil. So you don't want to, you got to be careful on the Hondas. On most cars, but the Hondas especially. Alright, so now we're ready to put it back together again. I'm going to install my crankshaft sensor again because I disassembled it because I want to try another procedure that I saw online when they took the pulley off, the crank pulley, and they put that on last. Don't do that because that's a pain in the ass, especially if you're doing it by yourself. So my recommendation, if you've seen that video, do not try to do it that way because you'll spend an hour just trying to keep everything stable. So just do it like we normally do it. You start with the crankshaft pulley and you go from the idler pulley to the camshaft pulley on the right side if you're looking at the motor, and then you go to the left side and back down and around to the tensioner, the belt tensioner. That'll be your last pulley, and then spin the crankshaft, and that should do it. And I got it done in less than 5 minutes. Put the belt on there perfectly in time. I tried it the other way and I was fooling with it for 20 minutes and I just gave up because it's just a pain in the ass to do it that way. So anyways, we're done. We're almost done. I'm just going to put the pieces back on here, the cover, the motor mount, put the cruise control assembly back together, or just put those two bolts in it and put everything back together. Button it up. All right, that's it. All right, once you before you start installing everything, you making sure everything is tight, all the pulleys are tight, crankshaft pulley's got the bolt on it, the belt's not going to fly off. You can go ahead and turn the motor over to see if it starts. Verified. Starts right up. Runs good. I'm shutting it down. I'm ready to install the timing cover and motor mount, etc. and get this thing back on the road. Peace. This is everything that I replaced during this job. Replaced the water pump since I'm already on there, and that pulley, the water pump pulley, rides on the timing belt, so it's a good idea to replace that because you don't want to have to go back in 6 months later and spend the same kind of money to do a water pump that you probably should have replaced while you had the timing belt off. So good idea. It's also a good idea to replace the pulleys in there as well, because again, you don't want to go in there 6 months, a year later, and your timing belt and your bearings fail on this, and your timing belt pops, and then you need another motor because it's an interference engine. meaning that if the timing belt breaks on some of these Hondas, most of the Hondas, earlier model anyways, you break the timing belt and you bend valves. So you're looking at a new motor or a head job. So always a good idea to get new parts when you're doing a timing belt. Better safe than sorry. And you see, the only thing I have left to do is get get the power steering belt on there, but I'll do that here in a minute. But it runs really good. All right, and that's it. Hayes Mobile Auto Repair. Thanks a lot. Hope this helped you out a lot, or a little bit at least, somewhat. If it did, like, subscribe. I appreciate it. Peace.